It's a real story. Title: The Secrets of Darkmoor Palace. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow upon Darkmoor Palace, its once magnificent structure now a shadow of its former self. The towering spires of the palace loomed like sentinels, casting long, distorted shadows on the overgrown grounds. Rumors swirled around this abandoned estate like autumn leaves caught in a tempest, whispers of bloodstained walls, spectral figures roaming the halls, and the deep, mournful cries of those who had perished within its confines. As the sun dipped below the horizon, enveloping the landscape in darkness, a group of thrill-seeking friends decided to uncover the truth behind the legends. Adam, the thrill-seeker with a penchant for the paranormal; Sarah, the group's skeptic; Emily, the curious historian; and Jake, the bravado-fueled leader. Armed with flashlights, a couple of cameras, and a shaky resolve, they parked their car at the foot of the long, winding drive leading up to the palace, the ancient trees standing like sentinels. There the path was overgrown, nature reclaiming what humanity had built. But as they walked, a palpable sense of dread seeped into their hearts. The moon illuminated the large, cracked facade of Darkmoor Palace, revealing its once grand features: ornate columns, beautiful stained glass, and intricate stone carvings that were now coated in dirt and neglect. Vines wrapped like fingers around the structure, and an unsettling wind whispered secrets of the past. "Is it just me, or is the air getting colder?" Emily said, pulling her jacket tighter around her inside. The grand foyer greeted them with a suffocating silence. As they stepped into the dimly lit room, the air turned frigid. A gust of wind whipped through the open door behind them, slamming it shut with a finality that sent shivers down their spines. End quote. "Did you hear that?" End quote, whispered Sarah, clutching her flashlight tightly, her breath visible in the icy air. End quote. "Just the wind, relax." End quote, Jake insisted, though his voice faltered slightly. Gnarled branches clawing at the night sky. The group split up, driven by both fear and curiosity. Emily and Sarah cautiously stepped into what appeared to be a drawing room, adorned with tattered furniture and a grand piano shrouded in dust. As Emily approached the piano, she felt an overwhelming urge to play. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembling with anticipation. "Do you think it still works?" Emily asked, her eyes glinting with a mix of excitement and fear. "I wouldn't touch it if I were you," frowned Sarah. "Who knows what energy is trapped in this place?" A sudden, chilling shiver swept through the room, sending goosebumps creeping along Emily's arms. She withdrew her hand quickly. "We shouldn't be here," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Meanwhile, Jake and Adam had ventured into a wide hallway adorned with lavish carpets, peeling wallpaper, and a grand staircase spiraling into darkness. Bookshelves lined the walls, their spines cracked and faded, holding secrets of a long-lost time. However, it was a large, ornate desk that drew their attention. A faded ledger lay open, the yellowing pages filled with hasty, scrawled entries. Tension grew as they read through the chilling stories of despair, madness, and untimely deaths of those who had lived and died in Darkmoor Palace. "Did you see that?" Adam suddenly exclaimed, pointing towards an old mirror hanging on the wall. In its reflection stood a figure, dark and indistinct, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. Jake's heart raced as he turned to see what Adam was pointing at, but the figure was gone. "Let's get out of here," Jake urged, the bravado he once felt now replaced with bone-deep fear. The four friends decided to stick together, moving toward the source of the haunting cry. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled into a grand ballroom, its once opulent chandeliers now dimmed and covered in cobwebs. The air felt heavy, dripping with malevolence. Suddenly, the temperature drop was palpable. A low, chilling whisper resonated throughout the room, echoing off the walls. "Leave while you can." The voice was soft yet commanding, filling their hearts with dread. They turned to run, but the doors of the ballroom slammed shut, trapping them inside. "Why is this happening?" Sarah cried, urgency filling her voice as tears brimmed in her eyes. But the pleading only grew louder. a symphony of anguish that drove them to madness. The walls began to close in, the air thickening with despair. As the chilling visions danced around them, the friends reached for each other, forming a tight circle against the onslaught of sorrow. Suddenly, Mark noticed a faint glow emanating from a doorway across the room. Over there. Maybe we can escape. They lunged toward the glowing light, pushing through the horde of spirits that swirled around them, desperate and pleading. The energy was electric, a bittersweet serenade of hope and despair clashing, in a cacophony that threatened to engulf them entirely. Finally, they burst through a back entrance and stumbled into the cool night air, gasping and trembling, the palace looming ominously behind them. They didn't stop to look back, running until the palace was a distant memory. Weeks later, the nightmares began. Each of them tossed and turned at night, waking drenched in sweat, with the echoes of that mournful plea ringing in their ears. The weight of each spirit's sorrow dragged at their consciousness, binding them to the darkness of the palace they thought they had escaped. Feeling as though they were slipping away, they decided to meet one last time. Sitting in a circle in Jake's living room, they recounted their experiences, trying to find solace in each other's words. "Maybe we need to go back," Jake suggested, his voice trembling. "Maybe that's the only way to free ourselves." The others shared horrified glances. "Are you insane?" Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide. Despite their reluctance, the idea lingered like a dark cloud. It was a madness they couldn't and #39. T-shake. Weeks turned into months before they finally reached a breaking point, and with a mix of desperation and dread, they returned to Darkmoor Palace, knowing that they were not alone. The front gate swung open as if welcoming them back, the wind whispering from the darkened depths of the estate. The air felt extremely different this time, heavier, almost alive. As they crossed the threshold again, they could feel the spirit's eyes upon them, a strange mix of urgency and unearthly sadness. The walls, once terrifying, now felt like a desperate plea for understanding, drawing them in, heart and soul. As Adam spoke of decisions he regretted, and Emily shared her family's tragic past, they felt a shift in the air, a softening around them, and for the first time, the shadows seemed to recede. Suddenly, the heavy silence was shattered by a soft melody rising from the piano, seemingly played by invisible hands. The notes echoed beautifully, filling the room with an otherworldly harmony, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. After a long, emotional silence, the friends stepped outside into the fresh night air, the stars shining brightly overhead, the moon now full and luminous, themselves a testament of love for those lost and a promise to carry their stories with them. But as they drove away, the feeling of being watched lingered, the shadows of Darkmoor whispering tales long forgotten.